She's in the kitchen. All right, here we go. So I feel like whenever I go over your house, there's always some baked good that is waiting for me to try. You always have like plates of cookies or muffins or pies. Like, do you ever stop baking?
No, and it's a mommy thing. You like to feed your kids, and
you're just
I love doing it.
You're so good at it. Like, you're so talented. How did you
It's
learn?
relaxing to me, and I just started, baking with recipes, and found it to be fun and relaxing, and everybody liked it, and so it was just something I started doing.
One of the memories that I remember most is your pies on Thanksgiving or Christmas. I mean, it's such a long lost art. I feel like nobody makes pies anymore, but you are just so good at it. How did you learn? I mean, look at this old card.
I know. I have an old recipe I wrote down when I was a teenager that when my mom taught me how to bake pies. And, I don't know why I wanted to know. I was just curious.
Right. So,
yes, bug.
Today we're making my favorite iteration on pie, and it's not actually pie, because I'm a cookie lover.
Yes.
So you came up with this pie crust, like cinnamon twist cookie type thing. How did you come up with this?
I always had a lot of leftover pie dough when I was rolling out the pie crust for your dad. And so I would just cut it off the side of the pie plate, and I'd end up with this big pile. And I said, well, I'll just roll it out and put some cinnamon and sugar in there and bake it, and it makes a little cookie.
Oh, they're so good. But it really starts with the just original recipe for pie dough, right?
Right.
So it starts out with flour, just like regular all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
Okay. And you add some dry ingredients to the flour, right?
I do.
So what do you have here?
There's some baking powder and salt.
Awesome.
Equal amounts, half a teaspoon each.
Nice. And the powder, I'm assuming, helps it like be more crumbly and rise?
I think it makes it more flaky in some way.
Okay.
I don't know how my grandmother came up with that, but you don't see that in pie dough recipes very often.
Yeah, it really works.
I usually sift all this together in the bowl.
Yeah.
But that, for purposes of the cookies, I don't think it really matters.
So you just work all those ingredients together.
Together, yeah.
And then to this, you add Crisco?
I use Crisco because I think it makes the dough tender.
Okay.
You can do half butter, half Crisco, but I find if it's all butter, you get crunch instead of flake. It's like a shortening.
Crisco is like a shortening?
It's a shortening instead of a butter. It's a type of fat to use in the pie dough.
So how do you do this thing? Do you cut
Well,
it?
this has measurements on it, and so if you're going to use 3/4 of a cup, you can...
Here?
Yep.
So it's like a stick of butter, basically.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut it.
Add it right in.
You wanna add it in?
Sure.
And I'll give this a nice little whiskey-do. And so when you add this in, then how do you incorporate it, and what are you like looking for when you add it in? Do you do a fork?
I usually use a fork. You can use a pastry cutter.
Nice.
You have a little bit of
Oh.
stuff there from cutting.
What is that, Mom?
Foil from the...
Oopsie.
Oopsie.
See, this is what happens when I bake.
Would you?
You need to stick to the baking. I'm gonna stick to the cooking.
So a fork works well for this. You want to cut it into the flour until it's
like crumbles.
Little crumbles form, and it's thoroughly mixed in. And you don't want to do too much of this.
Yep.
Just to get it combined, because if you play with it too much, it makes it tougher.
Tough. Okay. Look at how perfect this is. The master has done her work. And isn't the only, like, there's one more step in making this pie crust. So this is just the recipe for a pie crust, right? Okay. Is water, right?
It's water. You want to use cold water.
Yeah.
And
Start with like a 1/4 cup or something, and then.
Well, what I usually do is just Go around the bowl with the water.
Nice.
Stop.
Yep.
And then do a mix. And when the dough starts to come together into a ball,
Yep.
just barely, that's when you know it's ready.
Okay.
And that isn't quite enough, so you want to keep.
Wow. So this
Adding
is like
a
a
little.
real art.
Okay, see it coming together there?
I'm taking the bling off, Mom. Bling.
Blang, blang. There you go, Grace.
Wow. Okay, that's so cool. So basically, just until there's no more flour on the bottom of the bowl,
Right.
that's like loose.
Right, and you can see this is kind of sticking together in a ball.
Cool. It's like soft.
Yep.
Is this part of the baking process?
This is part of the baking process.
Do you start doing this when Dad is in the kitchen?
He would love that.
You're not being much of a Paddington today. You're being so
I'm
nice
trying
and
to be
neat.
neat because it's your kitchen. So this, you
Can
just
I put pie in your face? Excuse me. Don't make me do you. Okay, so do I take this ball,
You take that all out,
And I
make it
just-
into a nice ball.
plop it on
Yep.
a working surface?
Yeah, but you want to like form it into a nice ball.
Okay. It feels really nice.
Yeah, it's
It's
fun.
nice
It's
and
fun to do
soft.
pie dough. It is like bread, you know.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what
Okay,
I
you
do here.
Pick the roller up,
Okay.
and you're gonna
Feel
just.
how heavy this is, by the way. You could
Oh,
like
that's-
work out with this.
That's a beautiful roller.
I never use
I love it. I love
never-
this. It's cold too. That's
Oh
perfect.
yeah, because it's
It's
stone.
marble.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Okay.
Beautiful. So you're gonna start rolling, baby. Back and forth.
Okay. And how thin am I going?
Well, you go as thin as a pie crust would be.
Okay.
So, boy, your rolling pin sticky.
I know.
I'm getting flour all over me.
It's on my nose still. So then, do we take a knife?
I usually take a knife
Okay.
and you can cut
it down the
some of
middle.
the ends off here so that you have a straight piece.
Okay. So like that.
Yep. And then you can reuse that later.
Ah, yeah.
And then you can make cookies. If you want to make like a triangle, that will roll.
Oh.
So if you do this kind of thing,
Yeah, I was gonna say you should. You
You
should
know?
do this before I really mess it up.
you do this kind of thing,
Ooh, I see what
Right.
you're doing.
and then you can fill this end of it and roll it.
That way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need the cinnamon and sugar though, right?
Right.
Okay, we can use our dirty hands, right? Because we're gonna get even more
Sure.
dirty. So we have some sugar,
Or you can use a spoon. Yeah.
and then add in just cinnamon.
Yep. Just
Okay.
add that in.
Poof.
Ugh. Stir it all up.
And
Yeah.
you just kind of eyeball this, right? And
Yeah.
make sure it's a
Yeah,
good
that
amount
it looks like it's a good proportion of each.
Okay, good. And then
You're
what happens next?
You're gonna put some of that mixture on
Okay.
the fat end of this,
Okay.
and you're pretty generous. You can turn the spoon and go down this way.
Ah, yeah, like in a little strip.
Yep. And then you're gonna roll.
Very nice. And I remember
You're
when
just
you
gonna
had
roll and roll
when you had us make them,
and squeeze the ends shut so they're like little,
it's like a little
just
pouch.
little pouches.
That is so cute.
And they can be baked just like this.
Wow, that is
And they
the
get
cutest
crusty
thing.
and brown and have the cinnamon and sugar
That
in
is
the middle.
so cute. I remember when you had us do it because we were so young
Mm-hmm.
and you wanted us to make it less complicated so we didn't
Yeah.
make a mess. You just like cut it into strips
You can
and then
do
you
that.
just put the sugar down the center
Yeah.
and then had
Yeah.
us roll it
'Cause it was
too
easy for you.
complicated.
Yeah.
So if you have kids at home, highly recommend that version. Maybe we'll show one. Should we show
Yeah,
one?
go ahead.
So I remember you said like, you're like, okay, just make a strip
Mm-hmm.
like this and then cut it in half.
Yep.
Isn't it crazy that I remember?
Yep. And these are little ones, so you don't need quite as much stuff.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, just roll it.
Just roll it.
And they were like little...
Yeah, and you squeeze the ends, or you can leave them open if you want. You can see the cinnamon on the ends.
And squeeze that.
Squeeze that shut.
And those
have
are
a
kind of
little
cool. They're like little
cookies.
pinwheels.
Yep.
So it's really fun because you can do anything, right? You can like make them into little.
Yeah, you can make any shape that you want.
Just like that.
Yep.
Why did you put me in charge of rolling the dough out? I feel like it looks like a 5-year-old made these.
Brings back memories, right?
It does. The last time I made it was when I was 5 too.
It looks terrible.
How do you feel about our cookie masterpiece?
Not much.
So what
But
are we...
just pretend you did that with your 5-year-old, okay?
Okay,
That's all you
yes.
have to
More
do.
like your 26-year-old, almost 27-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
So we're gonna pop these in the oven at 350 for, I had 20 to 25 written down, but they might take a little longer because ours were so large and in charge.
These may not, but you can always take them off.
Right,
The
right.
little ones.
Usually
if they look done.
Usually you would try to have them all be the same size, right?
These may be done tomorrow sometime.
See you tomorrow.
It's my 5-year-old's artwork.
Which one do you want?
Cheers.
Bing, bing. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Mom, they are so good.
Delicious.
The inside is buttery, a little bit like salty. And the cinnamon and sugar, it's so like fall, Christmas. Oh my gosh. This is better than pie, I swear.
I love it too.
Aren't they so
They are
good?
good.
Check this out on tastefullygrace.com.
You won't regret it. What a mishmash of...
Hey Mom, can you make a cookie out of this?
Here, let me try it out.
Right here. It's a mini cookie. Here we go. Roll it better, Mom.